The African American is the real African. Drop out. Big king. Now, the reason why I got all these countries up here, man, there's 54 countries in Africa. And if in the diaspora, which meaning the African was born outside of Africa, you got a piece of all these countries in your blood. So how could you choose one? You see what I'm saying? See, a lot of times we dealing with an identity crisis. But once you find out your identity and realize you African, you start to love the whole of Africa. Because when you choose a tribe, these tribes have history, and sometimes, not all the time, they have beef with one another. So if you from America and you got all these tribes in your ancestry, which I'm gonna prove right here, how could you choose one? Now, look at this. Let me blow this up right here. All right. So we looking at the transatlantic slave trade. So, West Africa was only the jump off point, which means it was the closest place to the Americas. So you see right here, you had the Portuguese, the French, every European nation was involved in the slave trade. And you see here, 2.2 million went to Brazil. Then another 144,000 went to Amazon, Amazonia or whatnot. Then the Dutch took 294,000 to Guyana and the northern coast of South America. You see what I'm saying? Then you talking about another 881,000 went into Central South America. And see, then you looking at the Caribbean, you got 890,000 people went, and then you looking at the French took into Dominica 774,000, to Jamaica 1 million, and then you saying Cuba went 779,000. Then into the Chesapeake area, you talking about 128,000. Then you talking about 27,000 into the northern U.S. And then in the Georgia and the Carolinas, you talking about 200,000 into the Georgia, South Carolina area. And then into the Gold Coast, 22,000. And then you talking about 9,000 that went into Europe. See, what I'm saying is, when you're dealing with this transatlantic slave trade from about 1501 to 1875, Africa seized by the slave traders on the continent were taken not only to the United States, but also to South America and to the Caribbean, to major destinations. Now let me show this. Throughout the estimation, at least 12.5 million people were seized in the coastal regions of Africa and for the international slave trade. Estimated numbers of people were taken in captivity to major points of departure in 1501 to 1885. So again, we dealing with the transatlantic slave trade, and I just showed you how many people went to Brazil and all these South American countries, all these North American countries, all these Central American countries, and also into Europe. Okay? So when they say 12.5 million, that just, a rough estimate of what went into the U.S. How many people died fighting against the slave trade? How many people jumped over the boat into the ocean? And how many died fighting once we got here? And then the remnants was the 12.5 which arrived in the Americas. So if you get to 12.5 in the Americas, and that's one of the lowest populations of Africans in the Western Hemisphere, Brazil is one of the largest, and Brazil got, you know, 100 million Africans. Imagine how many they lost. Now, let's go here, and I'm going to show you. So let's look at this first circle. These are people with, African ancestry that went into the Western world. Now look at this. From the Cape Verde Islands, you got 92% African ancestry from Senegal. You see what I'm saying? And these, what I pulled up was the DNA of the Africans in the Western world. Then you look at brothers and sisters in the Western world that got Nigerian ancestry. Let's see, let's pull it. Let me blow it up a little more. You 79%. And then you got in the Mexican world, you got Senegal, Mali, Cameroon, Southern Bantu, Benin, Togo, Cameroon, Ghana. See, the Africans in the West is from all over Africa. They wasn't going to Africa and saying, yo, you Bantu, you Igbo, you know what I'm saying, you the Brown, if you know, Omo, we ain't taking them. You see what I'm saying? They didn't have a certain select group, just the West African that they took to America. They took people from West Africa, East Africa, Central Africa, West Africa, North Africa, and South Africa. You see what I'm saying? And this is what I'm showing you. So look right here. Brothers in Dominica. You got, cause I want, let me blow some of this up. See, you from Senegal, Togo, Mali, Ivory Coast, Congo, Cameroon, and Northern Africa. Now look, the Haitians, they got Ivory Coast, Togo, Benin, and Congo. And then our brothers and sisters from Jamaica. They got Ivory Coast, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Cameroon, Congo, Mali. And then our brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico. They got Senegal, Mali, Nigerian, Togo, Benin, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, and Ghana. And then you look at our brothers and sisters again in Mexico. You got Senegal, Mali. You see what I'm saying? Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Nigeria. The African American brothers, they got Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Ghana, Benin, Togo, Mali, Senegal, and Southern Bantu. There you got, again, let me go to the next slide. Boom. So again, the African American got all the African nations in his blood. So it's going to be hard when he repatriate to Africa to just pick one. Though when he see in his blood that he got all of them, and then y'all saying, oh, you must learn this language and you must be with this tribe. And he looking his ancestry and he got all the tribes in there, knowing y'all got beef in the history. Why would he want to pick one? Now look at this one. It says this brother right here got Nigerian. He from America. He got Nigeria, Cameroon, Congo, Togo, Benin, Ivory Coast, Mali, Senegal. Let me blow up a little more. Southern African Bantu, African Central hunters and gatherers. 1% Native American. See, the African Americans always trying to connect themselves to America when in reality those are mixed people, Afro-Asiatic, and you don't come from that branch. So you got 1% Native American blood, period. And I've been told y'all that. So quit trying to hang on to some goofy shit. Then you got 1% Asian blood, and then here go the white people, which we don't need to talk about because we know how they got there. All right? Now, let me go to the next slide. Look at this sister right here. She from America. Now look. Let me blow it up a little bit. She got her ancestry comes from Cameroon, Congo, Southern Bantu, Nigeria, Mali, England and Wales. You see what I'm saying? Togo and Benin, Ireland, Scotland, Senegal, and Gambia. So she got 35% with Congo, Southern Africa, and the Bantus. She got 29% from Nigeria, 11% from Mali, 10% from the Europeans, which we don't need to talk about. 9% from Togo and Benin, 3% from the Europeans, and 2% and one. So she, other than the little 3% and 10%, she African. She got 13%, even though she African American. And if you look at her, she look like she would have some Asian ancestry. But in reality, just like what we were saying, they got 1% Native American blood because they think, some African Americans look kind of Asian, and got kind of. No. What it is, that's European ancestry. And here the proof right here. You got this sister, and I just showed you the charts of all the Africans in the diaspora. So you look at the African American, he got 13% European ancestry, 1% or maybe 2% Native American ancestry, and he 85% got African ancestry. So you were African that your ancestors 100 years ago or 300 years ago made it with the Native Americans. And if it's only 1 or 2%, it wasn't many. And we know how the Europeans got there, which we don't have to talk about. Now, next slide. Now look at this. Same thing. These is the Africans in the diaspora. So you look at we'll start from the bottom. South America. You see they got blood from all of the African countries. You look at North South America. They got blood mainly from all the African countries, from Central Africa. You see what I'm saying? Northern Africa, Western Africa. You see what I'm saying? Sierra Leone, all that. And then you look at the United States, same thing. Same thing. And then you look at the Latin Caribbean. He got, just as much blood from Africa as the African Americans. You see what I'm saying? But you see the red is where the African is. And then you look at the British Caribbean. He got, Benin. You see what I'm saying? And then you look at the Guinea. You see what I'm saying? They got major African blood. You see what I'm saying? So we are global African people. You see what I'm saying? All over this globe, before the slave trade and during the slave trade. But the majority of the people in the diaspora come from Africa. Now I want to read this part. Analyzing the representation in the Americas of the people of regions of Africa, researchers looked at the genetic data and populations in the Americas, which at least 5% African ancestry, and compared to those of the peoples of Africa who at least have 95% ancestry. But listen though, so what they're saying right there, you only got 5% of all, one. But that means you got all of it. You see what I'm saying? You all of Africa. That go for everybody in the diaspora. Let me go to the next slide. Let me go to the next slide. Let me pull this up real quick. Because I really want to show, hold on. Because I really want to show the African American DNA. Now look, again, here go another, hold on. Yeah, here go another brother. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. The majority of his ancestry come from Africa. Now look, I'm pull this one up. Again, this is the Africans in the diaspora got ancestry from all over Africa. Now look at this one. It says Nigerian, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Cameroon, Togo, Benin, Mali, and Senegal, and the Bantu. You see, we just ranked #1 for African American ancestry or DNA. You see what I'm saying? See, that's just facts. Majority of your ancestry is African. That's just period. Now look right here again, the transatlantic slave trade, and you look, these are the routes that they took, what they call the triangular trade. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why we be saying we West African, because the jump off points that they took was from West Africa. But that don't mean everybody from, that live in the West is from West Africa. When you check your DNA, you got all of the African ancestry in you. Central, East, North, South, West, whatever. You see what I'm saying? They weren't picking and choosing. And they're just fact. Millions of people were traded across the Atlantic between 1515 and 1856. Average ancestry of the present day population of African descent. You see that right there? The majority of the peoples in North, South, and Central America are African. That's just facts. That's just facts. Now look at this. So again, these are the countries that majority of the peoples of the diaspora came from. So what we supposed to say when we come to Africa and we got all this different DNA in our blood, we supposed to say, yo, we beefing with the Bantu and we got Bantu ancestry. We beefing with the Fulani and we got Fulani ancestry. We be beefing with the Igbos. We got Igbo ancestry. We beefing with the Omos and we got Omo ancestry. We beefing with, you see what I'm, the Akans, because we got Akan ancestry. No, we not doing that. We love the whole of Africa. That's just real. Okay? That's just real, man. And that don't mean we don't, love or like certain tribes, but the Africans that's in the diaspora come from all over Africa. And that's just proof. Now look at this. The people, this represent the peoples of the West and the countries that they come from. And you see the peoples of the West come from every country in Africa. Look at that shit. When you look at the regions, you see what I'm saying? We come from every country in Africa. So how could we choose one? So the true African, the real African, is the ones that was born in the West. And I done even heard, Africans in Africa say that it's hard for them, even though, we can see our ancestry and we see, certain tribes in there. We understand that trying to choose just one and we got all of them, how's we supposed to do that for one? And then we see y'all fighting over these little tribes when we try to unite black people as a global people so we can become a global power. How is we supposed to, X out these many of tribes or these many of tribes when we is all the same? That's what the African Americans saying. So we can get past tribalism. You see what I'm saying? Because if you look at the DNA and the ancestry of these people from all over the Western world, they got all the African tribes in them. So the true African was born in the West. Dr. Clark said we didn't realize that we was all the same until we was on them boats. Because we'll separate on language, on what tribe, or what, when it comes to the diaspora, y'all came from over here, y'all Obrunis and Nakatos and all this. Why would we do that when we should be focusing on bringing us back together as a whole so we can all come together and make money no matter where we came from, whether it's Americas, whether it was South America, whether it was Africa or Europe or Asia. We are all one people. Jump out! Be king! Get free or die.